When a cosmic door closes, Taurus, another secret portal begins to glow beneath your feet. Have you felt the air shifting around you? Have you wondered why old memories echo louder, or why your intuition pulls you towards something unnamed? A revelation is forming, a code of destiny whispered by seers like Nostradamus, a frequency awakening as Uranus retreats from your sign after 8 intense years. Your ascension begins where the noise ends. And what rises for you between 2025 and 2033 will rewrite everything you thought was fixed. Taurus, what if the life you thought was stable was never your true stability? What if the ground that trembled beneath your steps in recent years wasn't a warning, but an initiation? And what if everything that felt like loss was actually a coded preparation for the rise that begins now? Ask yourself, why has your soul been restless lately? Why do you wake with a feeling you can't name? Why does your body whisper that something is ending, but something far greater is calling? These aren't coincidences. These are the first vibrations of your ascension cycle, a decade-long path stretching from 2025 to 2033, activated the moment Uranus begins to move away from your sign, taking with it the storms, the disruptions, the unpredictable twists, but leaving behind the one thing that matters, your reborn self. For 8 years, Taurus, the universe stripped you, shook you, challenged you, unraveled you. People saw chaos, but what you lived was initiation. Uranus came to tear down the walls you built out of fear. Now, as that planet withdraws, those walls lie in ruins, but look closer. Behind the rubble, something glows. Your path, your truth, your throne. Yes, your throne. Because this era ahead of you isn't soft, but it's sovereign. It isn't predictable, but it's precise. It doesn't ask permission, because destiny never begs, it arrives. You may ask yourself, what exactly am I rising into? What shape does destiny take once the storm passes? And how does a soul that has endured so much stand up again? The answer reveals itself slowly, like dawn stretching over a horizon that once seemed unreachable. The first shift is internal. Your mind begins to clear, your intuition sharpens, your boundaries strengthen with a quiet authority you didn't have before. You'll begin to feel it in your chest, a steadiness, a groundedness, not born of comfort but of awakening. A new certainty emerges. You're done shrinking, done tolerating cycles that steal your peace, done carrying the emotional weight of others just to keep harmony alive. This is not the Taurus of the past decade. This is the Taurus forged in lightning, shaped in sacred pressure, reborn through cosmic fire. But here is the mystery few understand. When a sign ruled by Earth undergoes an 8-year storm, the soil doesn't die. It enriches, it deepens, it prepares itself for a harvest unlike any other. Your harvest arrives in this era, not suddenly, not loudly, but unmistakably. Between 2025 and 2033, your life enters a phase where stability returns, but not the kind you clung to before. This stability is alive, flexible, conscious. It grows with you instead of trapping you. Have you noticed how certain paths that once attracted you now feel empty? How some relationships suddenly reveal their truth? How your heart quietly refuses to return to old versions of yourself? This too is ascension. Ascension is not floating upward. It is rooting into a deeper truth. It's the universe clearing the stage of your life, so only what aligns with your higher self remains under the spotlight. And yet, in the midst of all this expansion, a question echoes in your soul. What am I stepping into? You're stepping into a decade of self-authority. You're stepping into a timeline where your voice matters more than your fear. You're stepping into opportunities you once believed were too big for you. Now they fit like destiny. But before the rise comes the recognition. Recognition of what drained you. Recognition of who limited you. Recognition of the roles you outgrew long before you admitted it. A sacred truth is unfolding. You were never meant to survive these storms. You were meant to evolve through them. And now, with Uranus releasing its grip, your evolution becomes visible. So pause, Taurus. Breathe. Feel the shift inside your ribcage. This is the moment your soul has been preparing for, silently, patiently, stubbornly, for years that felt like centuries. You're entering the corridor of your destiny, and once you cross, nothing old will call you back, because the rise is not coming. The rise has already begun. Taurus, to seal the energy of this awakening, write this decree in the comments. I rise into the life my soul has waited for. Let it echo through your timeline. Let it claim your next decade. Let it remind the universe that you are awake. And if this message resonated with your soul, leave your hype on this video, like, share, and subscribe. And if your heart feels the call, become a member of the channel. Every hype you share strengthens this current, helps this space grow, and brings this light to other Taurus souls who need this message. Taurus, have you noticed how certain memories return lately, not to haunt you, but to highlight who you're no longer willing to be? Why is it that the past is resurfacing at the exact moment your future begins to form? And why does your intuition insist on showing you the pieces you thought you'd already buried? Because ascension isn't just rising, it's reclaiming. And this decade ahead asks you to reclaim every fragment of power you once gave away. As Uranus slowly loosens its grip on your sign, you begin to feel a strange clarity, as if the air around you has been rearranged. You start to sense where energy flows, and where it drains, where truth lives, and where illusion pretends to be comfort. Something inside you wakes up and asks, why did I settle for smaller versions of myself for so long? And more importantly, what is the universe preparing me to receive now that I'm finally willing to choose myself? These questions aren't rhetorical, they are initiations. Because this era doesn't simply offer change, it demands alignment. Between 2025 and 2033, a new architecture builds itself beneath your life. Not the kind made from routine or repetition, but from the deep internal knowing that you are no longer meant to live on autopilot. You are meant to live awake. That awakening begins with a realization that may feel unsettling at first. Certain people were in your life only for the older version of you. Certain goals you chased were meant for the Taurus you used to be, not the Taurus who emerges now. Certain timelines never belonged to your soul, only to your fears. And now, you're done choosing fear. But be honest with yourself for a moment. How many times did you hold on to a situation because it felt familiar, not because it felt right? How many dreams did you postpone because you believed stability required sacrifice? How many times did you silence your own needs so the world around you wouldn't shake? The universe saw every moment, and celestial cycles move with precision. They never take what you need. They take what you've outgrown, but refuse to release on your own. That's why these last years felt heavy, not because you were being punished, but because you were being rewritten. Now, as the cosmic pressure lifts, you may feel a subtle emptiness, like standing in a room after the storm passes. But this emptiness isn't loss, it's space. Space for the life you were meant to live. Space for the dreams that were too big for your old limitations. Space for the identity Uranus insisted on awakening within you. So let me ask you, are you ready to fill this space with intention instead of fear? Are you ready to step into the version of yourself who no longer negotiates with fate? Because fate is already leaning in your direction. Throughout this decade, you'll notice a pattern. Opportunities arrive not because you chase them, but because you've become aligned with them. Relationships shift not because you demand it, but because your vibration no longer tolerates the inauthentic. Doors open, not because you force them. They open because you finally stand before the right ones. This is the hidden magic of Ascension. It reorganizes the universe around you. But here's a truth most people never realize. When you rise, your environment rises with you, or it breaks apart. So don't be surprised if, in the coming years, certain friendships dissolve gently. Don't be shocked if a career path you once swore was forever suddenly feels too small. Don't be alarmed if your heart begins to crave a life that looks nothing like what you imagined 5 years ago. This is not instability. This is evolution. And Taurus, you're not evolving slowly. You're evolving quantumly. This decade brings a long-awaited shift, a return of your sovereignty, a reclamation of your inner authority, a strengthening of your voice, your vision, your presence. You will question what you tolerate and find that the answer changes. You will question where you belong and feel the universe guiding you toward the places where your soul can grow. You will question who truly sees you and watch as illusions fall away one by one. But here is the most profound transformation of all. You will feel, for the first time in many years, the sensation of being in your own life, rather than merely surviving it. Look into yourself for a moment. Can you sense the faint pulse of that truth? Can you feel how your chest softens when you imagine a life built from authenticity instead of obligation? This sensation is your compass. It will guide you more accurately than logic ever has, because logic protects survival, but intuition protects destiny. And destiny is the central theme of your 2025-2033 journey. During this period, your soul orchestrates a silent but powerful redirection. You may feel drawn to new environments. Why now? You may crave deeper emotional connections. What changed? You may feel called to heal old wounds you thought were behind you. What is awakening? These questions matter. They reveal the map that Uranus was chiseling inside you for years. A map that leads not to comfort, but to purpose. Yes, Taurus, purpose. A word you've carried in your heart without fully understanding how deeply it called to you. Now the calling becomes undeniable. Now the path becomes visible. Now the rise becomes inevitable. You're stepping into a decade where your presence has weight, where your intuition has authority, where your heart has permission. And with every month that passes, you'll step deeper into the version of life you once believed was too far away. But it was never far. It was simply waiting for the moment you would become the Taurus capable of living it. Taurus, have you noticed how the universe has been rearranging your life in small, almost invisible ways? A conversation that shifts your perspective, a delay that forces you to pause, a sudden clarity that wasn't there the day before. Why now? Why all at once? Because you're entering the stage where the unseen begins to shape the scene. This era isn't simply about transformation, it's about reconstruction. Not rebuilding who you used to be, but constructing the version of you that your soul has been requesting for years. But let me ask you something intimate. When was the last time you felt fully aligned with your own desires? Not the desires you inherited from others, not the expectations placed upon you, not the responsibilities you carried out of loyalty, but your desires, raw, true, unfiltered. For many Taurus souls, it has been years. Because life taught you to be reliable before it taught you to be authentic. Steady before expressive, strong before vulnerable. And yet, authenticity is the very frequency that opens the hidden path of ascension. This next decade demands that you no longer confuse stability with stagnation or loyalty with self-sacrifice. So pause, listen. Do you feel that subtle vibration in your chest when you think about making new choices? That is your soul reclaiming authorship over your life. Uranus spent 8 years forcing you to release what was built on fear. But now, between 2025 and 2033, the question becomes, what will you build on truth? This is where your ascension sharpens. This is where destiny bends around your willingness. This is where life stops happening to you and begins unfolding from you. But here lies a mystery most people never uncover. Ascension requires a period of internal emptiness, an energetic detox, before new chapters are revealed. And Taurus, you are standing right in the center of that sacred emptiness. Have you felt moments of emotional distance lately? Have you felt detached from people or situations that once triggered deep reactions within you? Why aren't you reacting the same way anymore? It's not numbness, it's evolution. Your nervous system has been rewired through years of cosmic pressure. Your intuition has grown sharper than logic. Your heart has grown braver than your fears. And now, as the decade unfolds, you begin sensing a truth many never discover. You do not rise by force, you rise by resonance. Watch closely how your life begins to shift. Conversations become more intentional. Your tolerance for chaos decreases. You choose silence over conflict. You choose authenticity over pleasing. You choose soul over obligation. Do you see the pattern? The rise doesn't look dramatic, it looks precise. But this precision leads you somewhere powerful, into the dismantling of an identity you once thought was permanent. Let me ask a deeper question. Which version of yourself are you ready to retire? The overgiver, the peacekeeper, the silent one who absorbed too much, the strong one who felt unseen, the loyal one who received crumbs, the patient one who waited for reciprocity that never came. This decade asks for a new answer. Not the version of you shaped by survival, but the version shaped by destiny. You are stepping into an era where your boundaries become a spiritual technology. Your intuition becomes your primary compass. Your desires become non-negotiable. Your energy becomes your greatest currency. And because destiny works in spirals, not lines, you may notice the past trying to revisit you during this cycle. Old connections, old emotions, old fears, resurfacing not to repeat, but to reveal. So when a familiar pattern knocks on your door, ask yourself, is this returning for healing or for closure? Your soul already knows the answer. This is where your inner sovereignty rises. This is where you begin to understand that what you allow shapes your life more than what you chase. This is where the universe tests how much you've learned from the storms of recent years. And Taurus, you have learned more than you realize. Look at how your body responds when something is misaligned. Doesn't your chest tighten now? Look at how your intuition speaks louder. Don't you feel it more clearly than words? Look at how quickly you withdraw from environments that drain you. Hasn't this instinct grown unshakable? You're not the same person who entered the Uranus cycle. You're the version who survived it. And because of that, the universe now shifts from pressure to provision. From here on, life begins to present what once had to be pursued. But this raises an important question. What will you say yes to when the right opportunities arrive? Because this decade is not about effort, it's about readiness. You'll notice doors opening unexpectedly, opportunities emerging like constellations aligning, people entering your life with roles that feel destined rather than random, a new community, a new calling, a new emotional foundation, a new identity emerging like a dawn you didn't see coming, and perhaps the greatest shift of all. For the first time in a long time, you will begin to feel safe in your own becoming. So reflect for a moment. What is the life you've secretly wanted but never admitted aloud? Because that life is now within reach, not through force, but through frequency. What rises for you in 2025-2033 is not just a chapter, it is a destiny unveiling itself in real time. You're not walking toward your future is walking toward you, and every step you take from here is a step into sovereignty, the sovereignty you had to lose everything to finally claim. Taurus, have you realized how your life no longer responds to the same rules that once governed your choices? Why do certain paths feel impossible to return to? Why does your soul recoil from cycles that once felt comfortable? And why suddenly does your intuition speak louder than your logic? Because you are leaving the frequency of survival and entering the frequency of purpose. Between 2025 and 2033, your internal landscape begins to change more rapidly than the external world can keep up with. This is why you felt moments of confusion, moments of emotional distance, moments of strange clarity. all overlapping, all happening at once. It's not chaos, it's calibration. The universe isn't shaking your life anymore, it's shaping it. But before this shaping becomes visible in your external world, it must anchor itself inside you. This is why you've been experiencing an unfamiliar sensation, a kind of internal silence, as if your soul is listening for a signal you can't name yet. Let me ask you something fundamental. Have you noticed how your needs have changed? Your desires, your definition of stability, your expectations of connection. This is not a phase. This is the recalibration of your identity. And identity is the foundation upon which destiny builds itself. In the years ahead, you will begin to shed layers of yourself that never belonged to your essence. Roles you accepted out of pressure, habits created from fear, attachments rooted in loneliness rather than truth. And as these layers fall away, a question rises within you. Who am I without everything I used to hold on to? This question does not weaken you. It liberates you, because the Taurus entering this decade is not the Taurus who walked into the Uranus storm. You are far more self-aware now, far more aligned, far more unwilling to abandon yourself ever again. And yet, with this newfound clarity comes an unexpected weight, the realization that you can no longer hide from your potential. Taurus. Why does the world feel heavier right before it opens? Why does an ending appear just before a beginning? Why does a truth reveal itself right before a breakthrough? Because destiny requires space, and the weight you feel is the pressure of rebirth. But look closer. Beneath that weight, something extraordinary is forming. Your inner authority. This authority won't make you louder. It will make you unshakable. It won't make you aggressive. It will make you certain. It won't make you rigid. It will make you aligned. You will begin to speak differently, with fewer words and stronger presence. You will begin to choose differently, with less hesitation and more intuition. You will begin to love differently, not from fear of losing, but from clarity of deserving. And this shift changes everything. Throughout this decade, you will face several moments where you must choose between the old identity and the emerging self. These crossroads are not tests, they are invitations. Invitations into deeper relationships, higher self-worth, clearer boundaries, more deliberate action, more soul-driven decisions. But here is the secret few understand. Your ascension is not measured by how much you achieve, but by how deeply you honor yourself. So let me ask you, where have you betrayed your own needs just to maintain peace? Where have you stayed silent to avoid conflict? Where have you minimized your truth to keep love close? These patterns dissolve in this new cycle, not because the world changes, but because you do. There comes a moment in every Taurus life when the strength that once protected you becomes the very barrier that keeps you small. This decade invites you to transform that strength into something else entirely. Self-recognition. You will start to see your own worth reflected in the people you attract, the paths you choose, the dreams you resurrect. You will no longer resonate with relationships that drain you. You will no longer tolerate environments that suffocate your growth. You will no longer invest your time in what gives nothing in return. And each time you honor this truth, the universe responds instantly. Synchronicities intensify, opportunities accelerate, stagnant cycles break open. This is the hidden path of ascension. It unfolds when you stop shrinking, but ascending doesn't mean floating above life. It means rising into a deeper, more intentional version of it. As you move through this decade, people from your past may attempt to re-enter your life. Some will come for healing. Some will come for closure. Some will come because they can sense your rise. But ask yourself, does their energy align with the future I'm building? Do they match the frequency of who I am becoming? Your answers will reveal more about your destiny than any prediction. This is also a time when emotional intelligence heightens within you. You'll notice that you no longer react impulsively. You observe, you discern, you choose. This is mastery, this is sovereignty, this is Taurus stepping into spiritual adulthood. And through this growth, the universe grants you something powerful. A second chance at the dreams you thought were gone, not the dreams shaped by fear, the dreams shaped by soul. Throughout this cycle, you may feel called to start a new chapter in love, rebuild your financial foundation, relocate to a place that matches your new frequency, create something that carries your name, your voice, your truth. Break a generational pattern, heal a wound you inherited but never caused. Why these urges now? Because you are finally aligned with the version of yourself capable of living these truths. This decade is not about becoming someone new. And gay, it's about becoming the version of you that destiny always held in reserve, the one you weren't ready to embody until now. You will feel the shift most intensely in your sense of time. Moments will slow down when clarity is needed. Doors will open faster when you're aligned. People will disappear abruptly when cycles complete. Is it shocking? Yes. But is it random? Never. Your soul is orchestrating these shifts with precision. And as you rise, one realization becomes undeniable. You are not returning to who you were. You are stepping into who you were meant to become. Taurus. Have you wondered why the universe waited until now to activate the deepest parts of your destiny? Why didn't the blessings come earlier? Why didn't the clarity arrive when you begged for it? Why did the universe hold back certain chapters as if it was saving them for a very specific moment? Because destiny requires maturity. And this decade, 2025 to 2033, is the era in which your soul finally becomes capable of holding what once would have overwhelmed you. What's rising now isn't luck, it's alignment. This is the stage where everything you endured finally reveals its purpose. Every heartbreak that pushed you inward, every disappointment that broke illusions, every ending that forced you into evolution, every silence that taught you to hear yourself. You didn't survive for nothing. You were being prepared. But here lies the most profound truth of your ascension. The universe is not giving you a new life. It is returning the life that was always yours before fear rewrote your path. Let that truth sink into your chest. Feel it soften your ribs. Feel it warm the places inside you that were frozen by disappointment. Because as Uranus steps out of your sign, the universe enters with precision, not chaos, and begins restoring the parts of your destiny that were prematurely abandoned or energetically delayed. Yet this restoration comes with a question. Are you ready to receive what you once believed was impossible? Are you ready for the stability that doesn't suffocate you? Are you ready for love that matches your depth? Are you ready for abundance that aligns with your integrity? Are you ready for recognition that acknowledges your value? This is where Taurus often hesitates, not because you doubt your worth, but because you've been the strong one for so long that receiving feels foreign. But this era does not require you to be strong. It requires you to be open. And opening yourself after years of endurance is one of the greatest spiritual acts you'll ever perform. Look around your life. Do you notice how certain attachments feel weaker? How certain desires feel stronger? How certain people fade without conflict? How certain truths vibrate through your body with absolute certainty? This is your energetic field reorganizing itself. This is your intuition stepping into command. This is your soul shedding outdated timelines. Everything that cannot follow you into your rise is already dissolving. But this dissolution isn't loss, it's liberation. And liberation is the theme of your final transformation. Ask yourself, what commitments no longer feel like home? What identities no longer match your spirit? What dreams have quietly returned asking for a second chance? Because between 2025 and 2033, your life won't expand in one single event. It will expand in waves, each one revealing a deeper truth about who you are becoming. Wave 1, you detach from what once defined you. The old Taurus stops leading. Wave 2, you discover desires you suppressed. The hidden Taurus steps forward. Wave 3, opportunities align effortlessly. The destined Taurus emerges. Wave 4, You embody a level of inner authority that makes compromise impossible. The sovereign Taurus takes the throne. This throne isn't symbolic. It represents the moment you stop negotiating with life and start shaping it. Throughout this decade, you will repeatedly ask yourself, is this decision aligned with who I am becoming? And each time you follow the aligned answer, the universe will respond instantly, with synchronicity, clarity, and openings that feel almost surreal. You'll notice people treat you with more respect. Why now? Your presence feels heavier, more grounded. What changed? Your path feels clearer. Where is this clarity coming from? It's coming from you, from the version of yourself that Uranus spent years awakening. But the most sacred revelation is this: your purpose is no longer sleeping, it is rising. This rise may show itself through a calling you can't ignore, a shift in your creative energy, a new path in career or contribution, a deepening in love or connection, a release of generational patterns, a redefinition of what home means, a desire to live more honestly and spiritually, a sudden clarity about your long-term direction. And during this decade, one realization will become undeniable. You were never meant to chase stability. You were meant to embody it. Your presence becomes the anchor. Your intuition becomes the guide. Your vision becomes the architecture. Your boundaries become the gates. Your heart becomes the ruler. This is why the storms had to come first. You cannot build a kingdom on an unstable foundation. By the time you reach the midpoint of this cycle, around 2029, you will look back at your life and barely recognize the person you once had to be. You will not miss them. You will bless them for surviving what you no longer need to carry. And as you move toward 2033, an internal prophecy fulfills itself. The Taurus who was forged in lightning becomes the Taurus who rises in light. Your decade of ascension is not coming. It has already begun, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will pull you backward again.